Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's episode. Now, I know I said in the last episode that I wanted to work on projects like this. While that's not entirely a lie, the thing is, I want to focus on these menial base improvement projects and whatnot, such as decorating that building, decorating the building over there, terraforming, and, the forest behind me. While I do want to work on those, I prefer to save those for stream. See, what I want to work on today's episode is actually this. Well, not this exactly. The real thing that I want to work on is this. You see, the end, unfortunately, is a little worse for wear. If we, take a look around there, a little bit of that, and then, of course, this monstrosity of a pathway that goes off into the abyss. See, I want to fix this place up because it's not looking too hot. Now, the project that I want to do is one that I've actually done before. And funnily enough, the last time I did it, it got me banned from a server. Okay, there's a little bit more context needed for that. But I'm not going to dive into that for today's episode. See, what I'd like to do for today's episode is revamp the end by creating these wonderful rings around this portal over here and to all of the end gateways. But in order to do that, the first thing that I need to do is kill the dragon a bunch of times to open up every single gateway. So without further ado, let's roll a montage of dragon killing. Well, as you can see here, we've now killed the dragon a total of 17 times to open up every single one of these gateways. So now that that dragon killing has been completed, the next thing I'm going to do is turn on mini HUD, and you'll see here we've got a circle outlined right here for us. Now the circle is kind of weird because this part right over here is only one block. So I'm probably going to alternate this and have this be 4 blocks, and then 4 blocks on the other side, and then fill in the remainder so that way it is perfectly centered with the obsidian here. Now, that does mean if anybody wants to kill the dragon again, those obsidians are going to refresh themselves, which is a problem, but I think it'll be fine. I'm going to end up getting rid of the obsidian tower, and theoretically this entire end island will be removed. But that's not until the future, so I think the next step here is to start outlining that circle and get that placed down so we have an idea of what we're working with. So let's build that circle. Alright, we have the first ring complete here with 4 paths. We've got 2 which lead to the wither killing station down below, and the other 2 which lead to the exit. We then, of course, have the pathway that leads us up from the spawning area up to the main ring here. I do plan to build a secondary ring, a much larger one, that'll go around all of the end gateways. But before I do that, I'd like to fill in what we've already got outlined here to see what it will look like. So without further ado, let's start filling in the outline. And I got this all filled in. And you might be saying this is a very strange block choice and block palette to use for a build in the end. That, you'd be right on that. Black on black is kind of an interesting choice. But my reasoning is that I want it to feel like you're actually walking on the void itself. And then we have the end over here outlining the actual place so you don't fall off. And I'll put a railing over here as well because I do intend to remove the entire end island. Now, one thing I'm a little torn on is, of course, all of the obsidian pillars. If we were to go ahead and take a look around us, all of the obsidian pillars go through the entire ring here, which is a bit unfortunate, meaning you can't actually take laps around here. So ideally, I would remove each one of them. That is currently my plan, but we'll see how far I get into that. Though I may end up putting that on the back burner because I also want to get the ring that's going to go around all of these. So I think I'm going to plan out and figure out exactly where that ring needs to go and then get all of the different pathways that go up to that ring and get that all sorted. So without further ado, let's go do that. And we've got the outer ring completed and finished. Now you'll notice that I glossed over something right over here. I removed the bedrock on the top of this guy right here. But you might be saying, why did you do it to the rest of them? Why is this one so special? Well, I ran out of TNT. So yeah, that's kind of a problem with removing bedrock, because you need a lot of TNT for it, because it's a lot of trial and error. So I'm going to need a lot more TNT in order to finish that project. So that's going to be something that'll be a work in progress as we complete things. Now, because we've got the ring done and everything else, there's one last thing I want to do before I start removing everything here. And that deals with going deep below the actual end island itself and filling this bottom layer in with black glass. So I went over and got some black dye from a nerd, and now with the black dye and the minimal amount of glass that I have, I should hopefully be able to complete this project. Just kidding, I'm going to need a ton more glass, but that's a future me problem. So let's place as much of it as we can and see where we go. Well, if we go ahead and spawn into the end, it's going to look like there's a chunk error here, but no, I did in fact remove this, and we have the glass down below so no one dies. Now you might be saying, I sound a little bit different. Did I get a new microphone? And the answer to that question is no. I just learned how to use my microphone because I've been using it wrong for the several years I've been using it. So it turns out I'm not actually supposed to speak into the microphone from the top. I'm actually supposed to speak into it through the side. So I've got that fixed, got some filters on it so it sounds even better, and now I can show you the end in nice detail. So one of the things we did is we smoothed out the railings here with some slabs, and now we've got some anvils with our dragon eggs on top of them because I think that looks pretty good. And I'm using the soul lanterns because I honestly really like how the blue pops in this climate here. I had purple glass down. It didn't look that good, even though the purple matches more with the end. It didn't pop out at all, and I didn't really like that. Now, one of the issues with the dragon eggs is that unfortunately, I am out of dragon eggs, so I'm actually going to need to fight the dragon a few more times to get more dragon eggs just for decoration, but I think it's going to be worth it. And once I get those dragon eggs settled, I need to figure out exactly how to do the railings and how to get light onto this so these idiots don't keep spawning. So without further ado, let me kill the dragon a bunch of times and figure out some design ideas. And with just a little bit of decoration here, we've got an end railing kind of set up. Now, mostly it's just slabs, anvils, and soul lanterns, but this entire pathway is in fact lit up. Now, there is the hazard of course, walking right off, and I'm still thinking of a way to make this look good. Slabs, unfortunately, won't look good because then the anvils are going to be too low, and any iron bars, glass panes, or anything like that just didn't look good, especially on the one blocks. So I couldn't quite think of a design for that. But if we go in free cam so we don't accidentally look at an enderman in the face, you can see here that we've got all of the soul lanterns done, as well as all of the soul lanterns on the large rings. So we've got quite a bit of this thing done, and I think I'm actually going to just leave it there. That's going to do it for today's episode. Thank you all for watching. That'll be all. Bye. Even though the episode has come to the end, I still have a lot of digging to do and a lot of glass pacing. But instead of boring you with a bunch of digging and glass pacing, let's move on to the next project. And I tell you, it's going to be fun.